I was really conscious of what kind of energy I wanted to be around in life. And
That's really
as
cool.
much as I love,
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
it is, as much as I love action movies, I just didn't want to be around violence all the time. I started, the other thing I thought was like, I love senior citizens. Maybe I should do something with that. And so between movies, I started volunteering with hospice. Like, I need to see if I can really do this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something that wasn't easy.
So that's kind of why you gravitated towards that maybe then. That's interesting.
So I loved the hospice volunteer work, and that led into me working in senior care for like 5-6 years before I met my wife and moved out here. And that probably taught me, everything. I think life gives us breadcrumbs, right? So everything I've done, from like being behind the camera, knowing how cameras work, to working in the art department and knowing how to build sets, to sitting and listening to somebody talk about what childhood was like, has really taught me how to do what we do better.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Jason Thibodeau, your host, is back, representing the Mortgage Lounge, but also we have an announcement to make. So who you're looking at to my left, I guess that would be your right, is Corie.
Stage.
Yes, well.
Stage left.
Stage. Okay, see, I don't know the lingo. Corie Savery. She is my official producer, and we have become business partners for a studio called Studio 919. There's some representation behind that. Hi, Corie. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to do this for a while.
Usually do not. I'm usually right over there behind the camera.
Oh, how do you feel right now?
Now it's, I don't mind being, I used to hate being on camera.
Yeah.
And then, when I was younger and in my 20s, now I don't care as much, yeah.
We're all still human. Like just before this, I got in front of a single camera studio over there and I shit the bed for a little bit, and then I kind of hit my stride. Yeah. But it's funny because like the long form is way better for me personally than sitting in a scripted situation on a single camera.
Right. And some people are the opposite, right?
Oh,
like
totally.
we're all totally different. I have a hard time reading a teleprompter. We have a teleprompter in that studio, right?
I use the teleprompter
You did.
too. Yeah.
And you did it for bullet points, which is probably what I would do. But I remember even in college doing the teleprompter and like just, you have to read like you're talking to a human and not reading. And
But
that
it's always
is
so
hard.
obvious.
No, there are people that are good.
Really?
There are people that are good.
So like when I'm looking at people who feel polished, I still see their eyes reading a script. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You see their eyes spanning,
right.
and it's like.
But when you're watching the news,
yeah. Well, those. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a whole different thing, right? That's a whole, but it's not the reading the prompter is. But at the same time, like, so when I worked in news, that was one of the first things I did. Sometimes the anchors don't have time to see the stories before they get on. So news producers are the ones writing the stories.
So they're literally reading off the teleprompter.
Reading off the teleprompter.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Right. That's happened. Like, I felt really bad for one of our anchors because I worked at a small station in West Virginia, and she like is reporting during the day and then coming and doing the 5:30 news and the 6 o'clock news. So it's not like she's just like dilly-dallying, not, she came
She's
from
busy.
like, yeah. And so she read this like one kind of upbeat story, and it was a newer, like younger producer, and they went from this upbeat story to somebody dying.
Oh my God.
And she's like trying, she's
No
saying
more smiling.
upbeat, and then she finishes reading the sentence and she's like, and they died. It was like really, so
I've noticed that on news where they have to change their cadence, their tone to match, the energy of what story they're reporting.
And if they have time, they will like go in and write notes. I worked with a fantastic reporter anchor that she rewrote all of the stuff that the producers wrote.
Oh, really? Okay.
But because she did it to sound like herself, so that it wouldn't be somebody else's words. We have these professional people that have a hard time with it sometimes, and they don't write their stuff. And there's been multiple times that people come in here in the studio and they have an AI written script by ChatGPT.
Oh, no.
And
It's so obvious when people are reading from AI.
and there's it's a hammer. I'm not like anti-AI. I'm not like super pro, but like for it to be your brainstorming partner, that works. And we have some people come in here and do that, and then totally reword it, just like the anchor that I just talked about.
Okay, I just need to say something though. Like you're getting the full treatment of Corie and why I have partnered with her with this studio, right? Because I think what a lot of people get confused about is first the baseline. Well, what cameras and lighting and audio and all this stuff, right? And I've been on this journey for a little over maybe 3.5 years now, getting a place like this. But then it's like, cool, you hand the keys to a Ferrari to a 5-year-old. How's that going to go?
Can I tell one of my favorite things that happened and how we met? Because
isn't life weird though?
It was perfect, and I was in here pressing buttons on the thing that I just came for, like, 1 year long.
You were pressing buttons.
I was pressing the buttons on the switcher that said "Don't press buttons." Do not press. And I was like, I know what these do. It's fine. Like I just gave myself permission.
I didn't know what they did.
And you
don't touch it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Corner, and you're like, you understand that? And I'm like, yeah. And you're like, let's stop.
Yes. It's so crazy how life works, though.
And I was just here doing like a little tour with the guy. It was in my networking group. It was one of your loan officers. So you guys had just moved in here.
That's right.
It was, those moments in life where it's meant to be. And now I jokingly, I'm like, you are like the brother I never had. It feels like so much.
You're the sister I wanted. Yeah. I want my other sisters too. They're never going to watch this.
Well, I was halfway an only child, so my sister was a lot older, so I didn't have
I'm
that
happy
sibling.
to be that for you, by the way.
It's fun.
Yeah, we do have fun together. I don't know if you call us kindred spirits or something like that. It's fun. It really is. I think the thing is, like, we're at similar ages and have gone through somewhat similar things in life. And at a certain point, especially when you reach your 40s, I think we both got sober, right? It's nice because you're not like still in a unpolished, abrasive ego, or need to be the guy, or need to be in charge, or need to be right. Like, no.
I'm always right, so I don't need to be.
Well, that's the other thing. See, I figured that part out.
Not at all. Just ask my wife.
Well, we collaborate so well together on that stuff, though. Two heads are better than one, as they say. But what you bring, and maybe just talk to people about your background. I just stumbled upon Corie, as she just explained, and it just so happens that, well, I'll let you talk about your background.
So I have a 20-year, I guess, lifespan, adult life of being behind a camera and in production. I started when I was in college getting my television degree. I was also working, I was like one of the star students that got to work with the professors that did like outside shoots, so my first money came from dance competitions, local, like going and recording dance competitions.
Oh, really?
It was horrible. I was never that girl.
Are you talking like junior high, high school?
No, like kids on up, so that's just, I will never forget this woman standing next to me when her 7-year-old's out there and screaming, "Shake what your mama gave you."
No.
So that was how, but hey, I bought a pro-ish camera and paid it off. Like that was one of my first and
generating money from the shooting of those. Okay.
Yeah, and doing corporate video, which was very boring back then. I did not want to go into corporate
video.
Yeah, I did.
Did they have cheesy elevator music in the background?
I did, yes, because then it was so much harder to find. You had to buy on CDs. Okay, first of all, realize that half the time I'm shooting on beta. Because beta...
What the heck does that mean?
Beta was...
See, I know nothing.
Beta was what... it was VHS and beta.
Okay.
Beta tape.
Okay, got it.
Beta is better quality. But Sony wouldn't let anyone else make beta players or anything like that. So VHS won out because anyone could make a VCR. It wasn't so proprietary.
Easy to offer to the masses. Yeah.
So anyways,
that's just
I don't even remember what I see it. We get off on tangents. It's great.
Okay.
So also,
at least it's interesting.
So I went from doing like boring corporate video, which is funny. One of the first ones
to falling into the opposite
was one of the first corporate video things I did was about Asperger's, not realizing that's what like
the syndrome.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, interesting. And here like 23 years later, I'm diagnosed with that form of autism.
No
basically.
way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it's.
Well, you never told me that. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I knew the autism part, but I didn't
we
know
don't use the word Asperger's anymore because he was probably a Nazi.
Really?
Yeah, Dr. Asperger.
Oh,
so there's the umbrella of autism. And then there's, people have different functionality.
Yeah, like, variations in different parts of the spectrum.
I mean, there are people that are nonverbal, and that doesn't make them any less intelligent.
Right.
We just live in a very verbal society that thinks that...
Which isn't always a good thing.
No. So all that to say, I did corporate video in college, and then I worked in news. I did a stint of interning with ESPN, but then I got the news job because I had wanted to work in news. I wanted to be like on the front lines. I wanted to do journalism really bad. And then
behind the camera kind of front lines.
And then something shifted. I think I just it was either that or I wanted to make movies. And my heart got broken. The guy I thought I was going to marry dumped me when I was 20. And I was like, all right, fine.
Babies.
I
was a baby too. I got married at 20.
Yeah.
We're a small miracle.
It wouldn't have worked out for the reasons that are a little obvious now that I'm married to a woman.
Right. There's that.
There's that. But I also just didn't want to stay there. So I went to film school. And then I started working in film, and I studied film and like cameras and editing, but I accidentally kind of fell into the prop department in film and worked my way up there. And
you have like a cool, and comprehensive background.
Yeah.
So I do feel really lucky to have.
Sometimes it does. I don't talk about it often because it doesn't. People look at me like I'm lying sometimes.
Yeah, but it's pretty fascinating.
Because I'm young.
Well, props, behind the camera, news, broadcasting, sports, ESPN.
I did the guns on set for a little bit. That was my crossroads when I left film.
Okay, what's the guns?
Like I was doing the armor work on set.
Oh, for props. Oh, got it. Okay.
I was actually investigated by the ATF when I first started because you have prop guns. The prop guns aren't fake guns. They're real guns.
Yes.
And they are just made to hold a different weight that flash powder is. It weighs less than gunpowder.
Yes.
So they have to calibrate.
And obviously, there's no bullet.
But it's still poof. And if somebody's stupid, put something in there.
Yeah.
Or,
Scary.
So, and there's different loads.
Well, there's been news around that recently. Not exactly super recently, but
I don't know why we use flash anymore. We can make dinosaurs look real. I don't know why we are doing that. They still have to, but besides the point. So one character, because they each have to be calibrated for each, like there's a half load, quarter load, full load, 1/8 if it's like really close to people.
So I didn't know any of this. This is fascinating.
Yeah. So one character could have 4 or 5 guns because I have to have one for each load, right? So it looks like and the gun's coming from a prop house here where they have a gunsmith who's calibrated everything for flash. And then it has to go through a gun store in New Orleans that I worked with. So when I first started in doing the guns, it was all going in my name. It gets transferred and it has to be in somebody's name.
Is this why you were investigated?
And this is why I was investigated, because I would have like 3 characters that had guns, but I would end up having like 15 guns coming through my name every few months.
So like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I met he never talked to me. He was at the gun store one day when I was in there, and the owner of the gun store was like, oh, and I keep in mind at this time I was like 25, 26.
Yeah.
So I'm this cute little like baby.
Yeah.
And the gun owner's like, oh, look, there's your gun runner. It's like, hi. So I got burned out. Not really burned out. I was just kind of like getting sick after every movie.
From stress and work?
From stress. I mean, you work 18, 20-hour days a lot of times.
When you're on set and in the middle of a big project.
And there's no breaks for the props department, which was fun. But it's not like, like camera has to wait for lighting and everyone to get situated. Lighting gets everything lit. Everything's done. Makeup does final touches.
So you're thinking, basically a lot of standing around.
Yeah, for a lot of, there's hard work, don't get me wrong, but they have a break.
Like waiting for all the other phases, yeah.
I am in rehearsal.
Is this where the actors are sitting in their fancy RVs?
No, when they're on set, like some of them are harder working than
Others, yeah.
But like, so in the props department, we have to move those stupid chairs, the director's chairs. That's
Mm.
under our department for some reason.
Mm.
So if I was running between scenes, I was moving what's called Video Village with my assistant.
Video
And
Village.
it's those stupid wooden chairs that are like, it's where the monitor is, so the director and script supervisor sits and watches what's going on and have the little headphones on. So, everyone's ego needs that wooden director's chair that weighs a ton with their names on the back, which was always a fight. So I had to deal with that. And then during rehearsal, I have to make sure the prop's there. And then during shooting, I have to reset the props. So there's no stopping. So I was exhausted.
This is so cool. I'm actually really excited to share this video.
We've never gone this deep without film suite, huh?
No.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
So like I was the person that had to be like, okay, well, I got to put this much left in the drink because cut. Take 2, take 3.
That's so cool.
And stand like right behind where the actor is to give them stuff. Sometimes I would like be under the table to help them,
yeah.
I was always there. Half the time I'm holding their phones.
It sounds like better than, a typical corporate desk job.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think I would go into corporate at all when I left film. I left film because I was struggling I was already an assistant prop master. I did not want to move up to prop master. I actually turned down a movie to be a prop master because it was only a couple more dollars an hour for never sleeping.
Yeah. The weight of that responsibility for not much in return.
And I was, like I said, getting sick after every movie. And I was in my 20s. Like, I don't know if my immune system could have handled it.
Sustainability of it, yeah.
And I just there's a lot of excess and ego. There's a lot of good things. Don't get me wrong. I still love entertainment's important. There's a lot of good actors. There's a lot of good crew. There's a lot of people without ego. But
but hasn't the industry itself changed in a pretty profound way, like dealing with CG and the emergence of AI and just like the union issues and all the other stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's been harder. Like,
and
all my friends that are still in are having a hard time.
Hollywood's really struggling right now.
Hollywood's really struggling, and part of that's the writer's strike.
Yeah.
They
had COVID too.
And COVID. And then when I left, we had just switched from film to digital cameras. And that changed. There was a cultural shift there because all of a sudden, so when you had film, you had to pay per foot. And you only get so many minutes in each film magazine. So rehearsal is super important.
This is interesting.
Because you didn't want to have to reshoot something because somebody's reflection was there.
Oh, I see.
You don't want to reshoot something because they don't know the lines.
Yeah.
Film is expensive. And you can't, it's not like now where there's a hard drive and you just keep going.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
And so once I noticed this shift when we started shooting digital that they stopped rehearsing. They would shoot rehearsal and then they would be like, okay, that's fine, and just keep going. And so I feel like some of the craft is probably lost because the rush.
Got it. Everything's based upon time and efficiency rather than quality. So maybe quantity over quality.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a business, right? It's not everyone like.
Yeah, but I'm going to say one thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but I go to the theaters once every 6 months now. And every time my kids say, Dad, let's go see a movie. I'm like, all right, standard, go to Fandango, right? What's playing? I would say 75 to 80% of the time, I say there's nothing playing.
Well, there's hardly anything in theaters.
Yeah, go on
because
Netflix.
Everyone wants to be in a series. And part of this is because the series just got real good.
Yes, it did. Well, and it's nice because you can get sucked in for a week, 2, or a month or 2, or whatever, right?
There's more time to tell a good story.
A story, yeah.
So I left film because between movies, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was like, am I burned out or do I really just need a career change? And it was this point of like, if I stay, all the armorers at the prop houses were like, go to armor school and do this. Like, and it's stupid money to sit around a lot.
School?
Yeah, like to become a gunsmith.
Oh, yeah.
Be gunsmith.
That's why
and then
joined. Okay.
I was really conscious of what kind of energy I wanted to be around in life. And
that's really
as much as I love...
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
It is. As much as I love action movies, I just didn't want to be around violence all the time. I started, the other thing I thought was like, I love senior citizens. Maybe I should do something with that. And so between movies, I started volunteering with hospice. Like, I need to see if I can really do this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something that wasn't easy.
So that's kind of why you gravitated towards that maybe then. That's interesting.
So I loved the hospice volunteer work, and that led into me working in senior care for like 5-6 years before I met my wife and moved out here. And that probably taught me, everything. I think life gives us breadcrumbs, right? So everything I've done, from like being behind the camera, knowing how cameras work, to working in the art department and knowing how to build sets, to sitting and listening to somebody talk about what childhood was like, has really taught me how to do what we do better.
Yeah. See a different perspective.
Totally.
Well, in our society too, death is like something that we all avoid talking about or dealing with or honoring outside of the basic, 1 hour funeral ceremony. Right. It's that even that's become commercialized. Like, it's no different than how commercialized an American wedding is. If you've ever been to,
oh my gosh,
like my wife and I's wedding, she's Lebanese, and my experience of that wedding, I know it was my wedding, but everyone who went to that wedding says, "Whoa, seriously, this was insane." Right.
Yeah.
Because like Lorraine's on the chair and we're all holding her up and we're all belly dancing, and like there's random food nobody's ever heard of before, and like, there's no cheeseball DJ with the standardized scripts and the terrible cake and the terrible food and the terrible cadence. Like, I don't know, I'm just saying everything in the United States is commercialized, and even funerals, and the death has been commercialized, right? What you're pointing to is you had a unique opportunity to not only witness this, but probably emotionally bond and connect with these people.
100%. And it changed the way I thought of everything, because by that point I was like late 20s, early 30s. It changed the way I thought about dating and who I ended up marrying. It changed the way that I do this job, the way that I interact with people. I mean, if you want to learn how to live life, you sit and listen to the people who have done it longer than you. And I was able to do that.
We all need to take, but we don't want to.
And when I started working in senior care, it was in-home care. Everyone was not on hospice at that point. And I would just go in the house and sit for an hour on the floor and listen and hear about whatever and ask questions. And then I would call and follow up with the family, because usually, son's daughter, usually daughter, is the one who's kind of navigating the care. And I'd be like, "Hey, your parent told me this story. It was really cool. Never heard that story." "Oh, really?"
Oh, wow.
And it, because we take for granted the people around us. And I think sometimes too, like that generation, that was the World War II generation then.
The greatest generation.
And our parents, talking about stuff wasn't as common.
Yeah. Vulnerability.
Yeah. So I got towards the end of life too, people are more.
That shifts. Yeah.
So it was a really special time. And then I moved out here and started working on camera stuff again.
Yeah.
So that's my whole synopsis
I'm
of
glad
career.
I got to hear this story, because I knew glimpses of it, right? But I didn't actually know the deeper version. So thank you for sharing.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm actually really excited to share this with the gentleman, James, that just came in here. He's going to be a great client, and there's a few others. It's really cool to be able to showcase not just the studio, here it is, but also who's behind the camera, right? You've heard enough from me. So I really appreciate the opportunity to hear this. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I think we're creating something. I mean, we talked about commercialization of stuff, and like this is, we are doing this for businesses mostly, right?
Right.
Because we live in a society where you have to be online for your business. But I think that what you and I want to be and want to bring out of people is that authenticity, because you can do both. I think that you can be authentic and find your people in business. And
which is where I think both of us come in.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think both of us, I can only speak for mostly you. I don't want to speak for myself, because other people have to experience that authenticity, right? Like the thing about you is you bring not just the background, but the empathy and the ability to coach. that was the missing link here. Because I knew I needed the equipment, and we created this with our designer Malinka's help. But then it was like all dressed up and no place to go. The bookend was you, the other bookend. And the vision that I had was I felt the anxiety, never having a studio before, being pushed in the direction of social media or quickly becoming irrelevant, right? So what did I do? I did all my goofy research online before AI was, more of a thing. And I bought the shitty lights, and I bought the shitty cameras, the webcams with 4K that weren't actually good, and the audio that sucked. And then I put out videos because, that's what I thought I needed to do. But it turned out it was really cringy and horrible. Then eventually you realize, okay, I got to get my act together. And the first iteration of the studio, no producer, one Sony camera. It was all right. Then we moved offices and became this. I just, was done playing small. Because the thing is, that experience I just described, most people have. And most people don't take the extra step to figure it out. And it's completely understandable. And by the way, it took me 20 years of my career to do that. It's completely overwhelming.
And I do this for a living, and it's overwhelming, right?
Totally.
Like, I can't imagine a plumber having to be like, oh, I have to learn how to, what is an f-stop?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I hear people react that way. They're like, oh, it's all just too much for me, right? So the vision was, sure, do we want big guests and, putting our name on the map because of that? Sure. But like ultimately, my passion, I think you share this, and our vision is to bring a turnkey studio with turnkey experience and coaching and the ability to run a podcast and manage social media to somebody who is a small business that is completely in over the head on this stuff. Because I was in that position, and it just happens. The universe brought us together through a silly story. And here we are. And, we're really leaning in, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. I think, I think we both not only have had our own businesses and tried to figure out that out, but like I grew up, my dad being a business owner.
Mine too.
Right? Yeah. Like you and I share that.
Yeah.
And my dad he's really good mechanic, but he didn't know how to market. He didn't know how to, like none of that stuff.
Yeah.
And he could fix anyone's car. Like he's the guy that could figure it out. Yep. But yeah, all this stuff. So I feel a responsibility to help those small businesses. Like we don't want everything to be Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I come from a small town where it unfortunately closed down, but there was a flower shop there my entire life up until a couple years ago, and I could just call and tell them. I remember when my mom retired, she worked at the hospital, and they tried to deliver the flowers there, but she'd already gone home, and they just took it to our house because they knew where we lived, because it's that small of a town, But that's customer service, right? Like, and that's why you want to have these smaller, but it's finding
small
now.
Businesses are the best, and what makes small businesses the best is the human being that runs it, that is behind it. It's the obvious difference between going to Starbucks or going to a small business coffee shop, right? Mom and pop shop. There's a vast difference between the experience, and that's who we want to support.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's just the beginning. We're going to take over the world, I think.
I'm excited. Yeah.
And then our second business is going to be a campground.
Heck yes. Get me out of here. Middle of the nowhere, please. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You've just been introduced officially to Studio 919's official producer, Corie Savery. Thank you, Corie.
Thanks, Jason.
You got it. Good job.